Shabbos Daf Samach Vav. Happy Lag Ba'omer. There's a wedding going on right outside the door here, a Corona wedding. You perhaps might hear the music. Says the Mishnah, if a person has a prosthetic leg, Rachmana Litzlan, according to Reb Meir, if it's designed only for aesthetic purposes, then he could go out with it on Shabbos, even though it's made out of wood. You can make a shoe out of wood. According to Reb Yosi, shoes are made out of leather, therefore it's considered a burden. You cannot go out with it on Shabbos. Smoichos are these pieces of leather that go on a person that is an amputee, and it goes on his shins, and that's how he drags his feet through the street. They are tied on really well, so it's not a concern that it might fall off on Shabbos, and they are not shoes, so therefore you could even go into the Beis HaMikdash with them, because you cannot go into the Beis HaMikdash with shoes. If an amputee sits on a small chair, and in his hands he has pegs that he walks with, but the bottom of his stumps, like you see in red, he has like a sort of a shoe that goes on them. Those are real shoes, la halacha, you can't take those into the Beis HaMikdash, but we're also concerned that they might fall off. They're not on him properly, and therefore you cannot go out with them on Shabbos. Look them in, 3 pshatim in the Gemara. One pshat is these are masks like Purim to scare the children. Another pshat is it's like a donkey that you dress up in, or they are stilts. All 3 of them, they are not kalim, they don't serve a purpose, and therefore they're not vessels, and therefore they're not mekabel tuma, and you cannot go out with them on Shabbos. Lemaskana, the way we learn our Mishnah is like we said. Reb Meir is the one that says you could go out with prosthetics. Reb Yosi says it's asur. In order to remember it, Reb Yosi's name has a samach in it, and the word asur has a samach in it. Rav, when he heard one of his talmidim say that Reb Meir is the one that says it's asur, and Reb Yosi is the one that says it's mutter, he went like this with his hand. He wasn't able to talk. He said, you got to flip it around. Shmuel, who initially said like that, he also retracted his shita and says like we have in our Mishnah, because he says a yavama kadu chalitza on a yavam that has a wooden shoe. So you see a shoe could be wood. Other halachas that he said is that and he brings a raya from our Mishnah that Reb Meir says wooden shoe is considered a shoe. You go out with it on Shabbos. In addition, he says that if a yavam wears his left shoe on his right foot, you could do chalitza, and if he wears somebody else's shoe, you could also do chalitza. Ravuna also retracted, and he said that if the sandal shel sayadim, it's a plasterer's shoe that goes over his regular shoe to protect his shoe, it's made out of straw, it's considered a shoe. You do chalitza with it, it becomes Tomei Tumas Medris. V'haidulai, who's V'haidulai? Reb Meir, says the Gemara, who holds that it's wood is a good shoe, says it's a good shoe. And who didn't admit to it? Rabbi Yosi says that it's also, or Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri also says on a mat made out of straw that you lay on, he says the straw is not considered wood, and therefore it's not Mekabel Tumah. The other man says it is Mekabel Tumah. Why brings Taisvis that there's a shita that says Adam Rishon ate from Eitz Hadas, which was made out of wheat. So you see, wheat, which is straw, is considered Eitz Hadas. Says the Mishnah, this shoe of a prosthetic leg, if it has a base kibble, it has a place to put the soft material, then it's considered a kli, and it's Mekabel Tumah. Otherwise, it's not Mekabel Tumah. If the main purpose and design of a kli is to lean on it, then it can be Mekabel Tumas Medris. Tumas Medris, when a Zav and a Zava lean, sit, lay on something, if it's Mekabel Tumas Medris, only if it was designed so to begin with. If a kli is not 100% designed for that, only sometimes you use it, says Abaya, it's not Mekabel Tumas Medris. Rava says it is Mekabel Tumas Medris. Says Rav, I'll prove it to you. There's a halacha that if a child plays with a toy stroller, it's Mekabel Tumas Medris. You see from here that you don't really need to lean on it. Says Abai, well, the child does lean on it. That's how he learns how to walk. But Abai says, I'll bring you a raya. A walking stick that you don't lean on typically, the halacha is it's not Mekabel any kind of tumah, even maga. It's a pshutik liyetz. It doesn't have a base kibble. Says Rava, no. A walking stick, you're right, is never designed to lean on it at all. It's only designed to walk in straight steps and to straighten up the old man's spine. Says the Mishnah that a boy could go out with kesher. One pshat in the Gemara is that he uses flowers that are called madder. And says the Gemara that if you use 3 of these, it will contain the disease, 5 of them will heal the disease, and 7 of them are so strong that even through witchcraft the person won't get this disease. The Mishnah also says that B'nai Melachim, the children of kings, they go out with these bells. It's not only the children of kings, anybody, but typically only the B'nai Melachim go out with it. Rav Acha Bar Yaakov says that this matter stuff that we discussed is only if it never saw the sun, moon, or rain, and never heard the sound of metal, of a chicken, or of footsteps. Says the Gemara, then basically there's no such thing as matter. You're getting rid of this whole healing thing. There's another pshat what a kesher is. There's a son that he's homesick, so before he goes away to camp or whatever, the father takes off his right strap from his right foot, and straps it on his left hand like you do with tefillin. If you reverse it, like I almost did, then it's a sakana. If you take a hot cup that had water in it, hot water before, and you put it on an intestinal ache, and you manipulate it, that's okay to do on Shabbos. It's not considered shchikas hamamarim. It's not healing. You are manipulating with your hand. You could take a baby who has his bones out of place and wrap him up real tight. That's also allowed on Shabbos. To take oil and salt and smear it on the palm of your hands and the bottom of your feet in order to alleviate someone who's too drunk. You could do that on Shabbos, and you could whisper in his ears. These are all the chashim. You whisper, just like this oil is thinning out, so too the wine should thin out. If you don't have this concoction of oil and salt, you could use wax from a barrel and thin it out in water. You're allowed to choke somebody. In other words, if somebody has a displaced vertebrae, you could hang him by his neck and pull it into place on Shabbos because he has a lot of pain. Many times in Shas, Abaye, who was a Yasam, he was brought up by Rabba's wife, and he used to say, R Eli Aim. My stepmother told me. And basically what she says are important things, and they are halachas. And she says, by the way, she was the one that said 3, 5, and 7 ksharim. But she says over here that anytime you do a lachash, you do a whisper like for this drunk person, or we bring la halacha, all the mishaberachs that we say for a chayla are with the mother's name. How do we know this? From this Gemara, from R Eli Aim, you mention the mother's name. If you don't know how many times to say a lachash, you must say it 41 times. If a woman has reason to believe she has some sort of genetic disposition to miscarrying, she may wear Evan Tekuma, which is a stone within a stone. Rameir says if you take that same stone and you weigh it against another stone, you could use the second stone that weighs exactly the same amount, not a tad less or more. The Gemara has a question, could you take the second stone and weigh a third stone? Will it work on the third stone? R Eli Aim, if a person has fever, you take a brand new coin and you measure salt from a salt factory and you hang it on your neck with a piece of hair. If not, take a very large ant that's carrying something and you put it into a copper tube and you seal it with lead, 60 seals. You take it, you shake it, you say to the ant, take my disease and take your disease. If not, you take a brand new earthenware pot, you go to the river and you say, river, lend me some water. You take the water and you go around your head 7 times, and then you pour it into the river backwards while you say, river, take my water back with the disease. The way the disease came, the disease shall leave. Have a wonderful day.